That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Comic Reviews. I am Sid Part 2, and thank you for joining me for Comic Book Late Night, apparently. Sorry it's so late for doing the live broadcast of this. I try my best to get these up on Wednesday no matter what. Holiday season, so I had to go do a family thing. And that's why it's so late. I just got home around like 10 o'clock and started reading my books. Didn't even get a chance to read anything, oddly enough. I'm not sure how much of a live audience I have, so I'm assuming I'm probably not going to have a live audience whatsoever, or if it is, it's probably just going to be Joel. Hi, Joel. That being said, for everyone watching this Thursday morning, hope you're going to have a nice Thanksgiving with your families and everything. Be sure to check out the special episode of Geeky Gentleman posted today that's going to be on how history is taught. And please forgive me as you watch this, as I am incredibly tired right now as I start this episode. So there'll be a lot of me doing what I'm doing right now, which is rubbing my eyes and being very tired. What else can I talk about? Obviously, I just want to give happy we screwed over the Natives Day. Exactly. It was funny. I was talking to my boss today because he was all like, oh, aren't you excited for Thanksgiving? Like, I'm excited to have, like, a holiday off because I haven't had a Thanksgiving where I wasn't working for, like, 3 years since I was working at the news station. And he goes, oh, well, that's good, but why aren't you excited for the rest of it? Is like a family thing? I'm like, I have mixed feelings on Thanksgiving as a holiday. And he goes, why? Well, I'm Native, so, that's kind of why. And he goes, oh, well, the first Native Americans celebrated Thanksgiving with us. I'm like, yeah, I know that part. It's more what happened after the fact that I find, enraging. Anyway. But it's okay. It's not even really about that shit. It's just an excuse for Americans to eat. Hi, Jacob Carlson. It's nice to see you. I'm doing well, all things considered. I'm just incredibly tired. So anyway, everyone, thanks for coming live. If I'm not, passed out by the end of this episode, I'll do some live Q&A bits, maybe, and I'll interact throughout, see if I can get your thoughts down in the peanut gallery, as it were. Actually, I found out the other day that's a racial slur. I didn't know that, but peanut gallery is like kind of a racial slur, so probably shouldn't say that. Anyway, let's go ahead and start this week by talking about the last thing I read, which I picked up just off the stand, and that was Venom #1. Fuck yes. Oh my god, a good Venom book. What the shit? How did this happen? To be fair, I did read the, what's his name? He did Sinestro. I'm way too tired to think right now. He does, all the villains. It's weird. Shit. You know who I'm talking about. Anyway. The guy that did Bennett, shit, I honestly can't remember his name. He did the Flash Thompson Venom run, which got really popular. And I read the first issue and it was good. It's just I don't like Venom as a hero. And the problem is every time Venom gets a solo book, he's always a hero in this really weird way. And it's like, why bother with that? Why not just make... He's a fucking villain. Just make a book about a villain. Damn it. And that's what this is. This is a Venom book where Venom is going to be just a bad guy. And I really like that. There's this great little note in the back. It was kind of like a letters page addressed to the reader kind of thing. And it's perfect. It gives you everything you need to know about this book. Matthew Bennett adds a lot of color commentary to the live shows. If you come live, it's worth it. For years, Venom has been one of the most iconic Spider-Man villains in the friendly neighborhood wall crawlers rogues gallery. Created by Todd McFarlane, Mike Zeck, and David Michelin in 1988, the sinister symbiote became a sensation. Alliteration at 11 o'clock at night. Awesome. Almost immediately. There's something about Venom's look, his eyes, fangs, and of course his classic black and white color scheme that's made him an international icon of villainy. You get a single glance at him and you know he's not exactly nice. And yet, almost from his inception, there's been a tendency to drive Venom toward heroism. First, he was a lethal protector, then a secret agent, and most recently a guardian of the galaxy. There have been hundreds of Venom stories over the years, and a plethora of them have been about Venom grappling with his own violent tendencies and trying to be a hero. Not this time. At the keyboard for this series is Mike Costa, who devoted Spider-Man fans may recognize as the writer of the 2014 Scarlet Spiders miniseries, or the recent cult hit Web Warriors. As you've seen, Mike's a terrific writer, and one of his greatest strengths is that his characters are all very deliberately written. Like a playwright, Mike ensures that all of his characters are acting with an objective in mind, and he's taken that style of characterization and applied it to the Venom symbiote itself, a perspective we've rarely seen in the near 30-year history of the character. This is the first real look into the symbiote's thoughts and feelings that we've taken, and it's going to pay off in ways you'll never see coming. Oh, man. I am so excited, and this book is just instantly fantastic. You think you know where it's going to go. There's all these twists and turns. It's also got, it's funny, Matthew Bennett's making hentai jokes about Venom. It's got kind of a anime look to it in really subtle ways. What's the name of the artist? Sandoval? Gerardo Sandoval. I don't know. It's got very the spiky hair thing. I'll show you some panels. It would help if I'm looking at what I'm currently showing you. Yeah, there we go. There's our main guy who's now bonded with the symbiote, and he's got kind of the spiky hair. And then if I go a page back, look at these guys. There's a very clear anime influence to the art. So it's kind of funny that Matthew Bennett was making the jokes he was. But all right, so I just showed you that panel, but God, I fucking love the Venom design right now. Holy shit, that is cool. Oh, I'm so excited for this book. This is going on my poll. This is going on my poll right now. Yeah. Jacob Carlson is saying the book sounds refreshing. Too much of that hero Agent Venom bullshit lately. Yeah, I don't like the idea of Venom as a hero. He's a villain. Write him as a villain. I read the first issue of the Flash Thompson Venom book, and it was well written. I just don't like the concept. So that's really great. I also love just how this starts. I'm intentionally avoiding showing you too much of the story because I want you to go pick this up. This is a first issue. I'm sure it's on digital too. This is worth picking up. Years ago, thinking he was donning a new costume, Peter Parker, aka the Amazing Spider-Man, accidentally bonded with a unique alien being called a symbiote. When Peter realized the costume was making him angrier and more aggressive and actually a living organism, a member of an alien species called the Clantar, he rejected it, leaving the creature feeling betrayed and alone on a foreign world. But during their time together, the symbiote had access to Spider-Man's genetic code, and as a result, can now grant whoever it bonds with skills similar to those of its first host: wall crawling, the power to generate bioorganic webbing, and unique abilities to shapeshift and turn invisible. The symbiote has had many hosts over the years, some noble, some nefarious, and though it has been a lethal protector, a government agent, and a guardian of the galaxy, it will always remain Venom. That's fucking brilliant introduction exposition. I love it. That is just beautiful. I love it's using the page turn. It's doing all the things I love about comics. The page turn reveal. That's the best kind of thing ever. And the way everything's drawn here, the backstory we get on this guy. Yeah, this is good shit, guys. Go pick this up. This is worth the $4. I promise. Matthew Bennett, I like you. You got nice color commentary. I'm not even gonna read half your comments out loud because I want people to come live. Anyway, yeah, I'm not going to talk about the story of this. The art, it's interesting art. It's got a very, like I said, very anime influence. But I don't want to talk about the story. Just know you're getting Venom as a villain now, and it's not necessarily the symbiote. It's more the person in it, which is an interesting idea, and it's something I'm excited to see explored. But we're going to get some great dichotomy, some really fascinating things going on in this. I can already tell you. Very, very strong first issue. I'm incredibly excited for this series. It's on the pull list. And it's just something I picked up off the stand. How awesome is that? All right, next. Superman number 11. This I just picked up because it's picking up on the Damian and John being tested by their fathers, and I just really like the idea of Superman and Batman as dads. That's really interesting because you have the whole Marvel thing, which is the idea that their heroes are more relatable, they're more identifiable with the person reading the book. Whereas over at DC, their heroes are more aspirational or inspirational. You're meant to, in one way or another, look up to and aspire to be them, even though it's a unreachable goal. And so I like the idea of making Batman and Superman fathers respectively, and seeing them interact with each other on that level and interact with their children, because it allows you to identify with Damian and John and look up to their fathers, which is like when you're a kid, that's a thing you did. Your dad was Superman for a lot of people. So that kind of doe-eyed, oh my god, feeling that you got from your parents. Not everyone. This isn't universal, obviously, but it is a fairly common thing, that they can do no wrong. I want to be just like them kind of way of looking up. And the idea that no one's dad is as good as your dad. Remember this from schoolyard fights. My dad could beat up your dad. That's a very, very interesting and I think very, not innovative, but great place to take these characters and finally do that with it. I mean, we've had, Superboy and Robins before, but they were never directly the fathers of these kids. So I really like that. I think that's really brilliant writing. And they do a fantastic job. John and Damian have a great dynamic together of just being little shits back, or mainly Damian being a little shit and John just having no idea what he's doing, which is great. Damian being overconfident and John being John not having enough faith in himself is a really nice dichotomy. I love this scene as they are flying on the back of Goliath, Damien's pet man-bat thingy. You should rest, John. Goliath, keep this heading until morning. John. Found this leftover granola bar in my pocket. Split it? I'd rather starve. Stomach gurgle. Give me that. Just takes the whole thing. Damien, do you think you want to grow up to be like your dad someday? Old? Good. You talk too much. I suppose they want us to become brothers in arms or something. Worse, friends. Do you think? Never. Yeah, right. Never. I love Damien's little and having him and John both do it little. Get it real close to the camera so you can see the lettering. Come on. Focus. Focus. There you go. Get it real close there. There we go. Focus on me. Thank you. That's great writing. That's fun. I love it. Again, I feel like, you know, I'm crediting the writing. I feel like this writes itself, in all honesty. I feel like this writes itself, so I can't give the writing too much credit. It's not perfect, but it's such a great concept, and it's so much fun to read that it's any problems I have with it, I'm completely overlooking. I'm tempted to put Superman on my poll just in the hopes that this whole story with them continues and it's like at least a plot thread. Or is Super Sons like a book that's coming out? Is that a thing? Let's look something up. Oh, so is it gonna be? Okay, yeah, it's getting its own book. Yeah, I'm picking that up. I'm not picking up Superman. I'm picking up Super Sons. That's totally happening. I don't like the name Super Sons because it's too much Superman, not enough Batman. World's Finest Junior would work better for me, maybe. There are just other names that come to mind, but Super Sons is okay. I won't mind. Incredibly excited, though. Incredibly excited for that. Oh, it was supposed to come out in September, but it was pushed back for whatever reason. Well, they've built a lot of great groundwork for it in here, so that's fine with me. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Thanks for the info, Jacob. To not this, but I do have an announcement to make regarding this. Let me just figure out one thing. Skip to the very, very end. Is there another issue, or is it the end of the series here? Come on, thing. Okay, so this is the very end of the series. Of fucking course. I've stopped going. This was the last time I went to the comic store I've been going to for years. Today, because I was getting so annoyed with crap like this. It was a 5-issue miniseries. I picked up the first issue on the shelf. I asked them to add the book to my poll shortly after that. And I specifically asked at one point, has the second issue already come out? And they told me no, and they still missed it. And then I got all these other issues of it, issue 3, 4, and now 5, and they didn't fucking get me my goddamn issue 2. And so today I walked in the store, I paid for my books, told them to cancel my poll, I walked out. I'm not going to not go there anymore, but yeah, they obviously just cannot do their job when it comes to getting me new books consistently when I add or drop them, whatever. So because of that, unfortunately, I am not going there anymore. I am going to be putting in a new poll list with another comic shop in town. I'm incredibly spoiled when it comes to comic book stores in Fort Wayne. We have 4. There are like 2 of them are owned by the same person. It's the shop that I was going to. but there are 4 comic book stores in Fort Wayne. One keeps incredibly weird hours, so I'm not going to them. But yeah, so we have 4 shops, so I'm incredibly spoiled. I understand a lot of people don't have that option or don't have any comic stores. I get it, but when you're trying to do reviews and shit and you have to keep pushing back, oh, I can't do this because they didn't give me the book, that's not something I'm okay with. And I know people want me to talk about this, and I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to be reading this, but now I have to wait and whatever. Good news is, let me go grab something. Oh, damn it, it's all the way in the other room. Good news is, guess what? Good to do. Godzilla, Rage Across Time #2. Got it now. Doctor Who, the Supremacy of the Cybermen, issue #4 of 5, which they fucking missed. I got 1 of 5, or I picked up, I didn't pick it up. I had to ask for Supremacy of the Cybermen because they don't ever put the Doctor Who books out on the stand because they don't order enough. Well, if they sell right away when you put them out on the stand, then maybe you should order more. So I had to ask for it. I was too late to ask for it to get the first issue. So I got the second issue, and I was like, okay, can you back order me the first issue? And I did, and then it was on my list. I got the third issue and the first issue at the same time. Never got the 4th issue, got the 5th issue last week. Assumed I'd gotten the 4th issue, tore through all of my books, had to reorganize everything to make sure I didn't miss it anywhere. Missed the 4th issue entirely, and I was just pissed off. I'm like, okay, between Godzilla, Rage Across Time, and just other problems I've had with them, not fucking going there anymore. Not for new books. They have archive stuff. I'll still go there. I'll still check for trades there on occasion if I'm around the area, but that's just fucking ridiculous. So yeah, obviously, Matthew Bennett, if you haven't bought a comic book in years, why are you watching this show? Anyway, obviously I'm very upset about that. I want to be talking about this stuff for you guys, and it was annoying that was preventing me from doing that. But good news is my new shop, I was able to get those 2 issues just at walking in and finding them on the stands. So hopefully they're going to be a lot better about ordering stuff. And yeah. Anyway, moving right along. Speaking of Doctor Who, though. Doctor Who, the 10th Doctor, Year 2, number 16. God, that was stupid. The way they redid those. Ugh. Numbering. Year 2, we're in the 16th. What are they going to do about Year 3? Again, it's all just revolving around Sutekh, and I know people love the Pyramids of Mars story, and it's a good series of 4th Doctor episodes. I'm not gonna lie, it's good. I just don't care enough. I'm like, yeah, this is good, whatever. And there are other 4th Doctor stuff I just liked more. Maybe on some kind of objective level, I could admit it's better, but overall, I was just like, yeah, it's all right. So this is all like, for people that love that with the 4th Doctor and also love the 10th Doctor, I bet that they are just in love with this right now and nerdgasming all over the place. For me, I'm just like, yeah, okay, it's whatever. There is one scene, though, that I really fucking like, and it does firmly establish how much of an irredeemable monster Sutekh is. Because he allies with these destructive god-like figures in order to get out of this limbo dimension the 4th Doctor trapped him in. And then once they've served that purpose, he's just like tossing them aside. And he gives this really like the monster. He gives this quick lecture to one of the monsters that's about to kill one of the companions, and the thing's like, "I am a god. I do not ask permission. My song is eternal." Sutek just has this fucking intimidating ass monologue. "The only song that is eternal is silence. What pains me most about music is it sounds so alive. It mimics the incessant writhing of the foundations of matter, all those patterns and repeated motifs and variations, that endless, pointless spiral of possibility." And he just cuts open this thing. "I want the shifting microcosmic squirm of the quantum stuff that you are made of to stop, to be inert. I want possibility itself to be impotent powder. No more songs. Be still now. As ash, as dust. There. Isn't that so much better? It's quiet now. It's still." That's a good fucking monologue. I can't lie. I'm just like not super invested in what's happening. Doctor thinks he had a plan to stop him. Turns out he was predicted, or he was outmaneuvered by Sutek, and it looks like, oh no, he's not going to be able to win. So yeah, great stuff. Again, it's sad, but I seriously, Rachel Smith's 10th Doctor comics in the back are so good. Like, you guys are all talking in the live show comments right now about buying and trade, and I understand the need to buy and trade sometimes. I hope to God these are included in the trades, because these are fundamentally the best thing about this book month to month. The Doctor like walks out of a shop and sees a bunch of people who are like really confused and don't know what's going on outside of a bar. He's like, "We'll figure out what's going on with this." And so he walks into the bar, and it's being run by a weeping angel who like was really really good at running bar because of how quick she was. But unfortunately, as people found out about how great the service is, more and more people kept coming to the bar. And the more people that came, the less like chance she had to actually move around and do stuff because people were looking at her. So he made her a gimmick bar. Or no, so in order to solve that problem, she just started, time zapping people a couple hours back. So they could she could have time to get shit done before they came back to the bar. And the Doctor's solution to it all is to make it like a hidden bar. So they just go up and they say what they want, and then the Weeping Angel immediately is able to do it because they're not able to see her. That's really funny. Just good episode. Good issue. Good issue. Yeah, liked it. Fun stuff, man. Fun stuff. Trying to think. Anything else to talk about? No. Just I if you guys are buying these in trades, which Joel, I know you said you hadn't seen them in trade. I was at Barnes and Noble and I saw a couple volumes of the different Doctor stories in trade, including the 4 Doctors. So you should be able to find those. But if you are reading in trade, I hope you have this because it's definitely the best part. I'll just read that on its own. If they just give Rachel Smith a Doctor Who comic, I'll read it. Anyway, continuing on with Batman Beyond #2. This is still pretty good. Batman Beyond Return of the Joker is definitely 100% not canon with this because we get how the Joker died in this, or how he was assumed dead, but actually he was cryogenically frozen. So that is 100% not in canon in any way, shape, or form. This is pretty much in that odd continuity where Batman Beyond is in the actual future of the DC universe. They even mention the death of Superman and all that stuff. So yeah, though it's weird. I'm not sure to which death of Superman they are referring. I mean, it's Dan Jurgens, so he's writing a lot of stuff dealing with that right now, and he wrote the original, so it's just all over the place. But anyway, Joker didn't die. He was cryogenically frozen, and they're working on reviving him. Terry sneaks in through like a subterfuge plan, sneaks in with the Jokers. Really, really great reference, though, as to how Terry is able to get involved, because they're like, well, just because you show up with some fancy toy doesn't mean that we're going to just let you in. If you say you just got out of prison, you could be a spy or something. And so he's like, what? No one gets to drop in and out of nowhere and claim he's in the club. Like I said, I've been locked up. Figured my last name might help open the clubhouse doors. Yeah? What might that be? Trey Malone. You must have heard of my old man. Most people called him Matches. Worked just about every angle there was. Didn't know Matches had a kid. But if that's who you are, welcome to the Jokers. Shway. I love it. Matches Malone. That's good stuff. I love Matches Malone references. So Trey Malone. Nice. Go Terry. Go Terry. I also like just the way Terry looks as a Joker. It's got a bit of an Arnold Schwarzenegger meets It look to it. I mean, what else would you use to describe that image? Yeah, as long as this doesn't mention Future's End, that would be great. It has, but it's not letting that affect the story very much right now. It's just like they didn't want to reboot the whole thing, so then it's like, okay, well, or what? Yeah, it's after that, like a lot of comic events. So I'm good for now. It's enjoyable again, and it's entirely based on Terry McGinnis being Batman Beyond. That's all that it takes. Tim Drake being Batman Beyond with Dan Jurgens writing sucked. Terry being Batman Beyond with Dan Jurgens writing, but in a whack-ass continuity, it's at least fun. I have no idea, man. They're all talking about Future's End, and I'm like, I don't know. Joel's asking about the continuity of Batman Beyond. Just don't. It's in the DC universe now. Whatever happened in Batman Beyond that does not directly contradict anything in the DC Rebirth continuity at the moment is what is part of this continuity in Batman Beyond. That's the best explanation I can give, and it makes no sense. And they're never even going to try to make it make sense, because their attempt to try to make it make sense was to do Batman Beyond with Future's End and Brother Eye, and it was awful. It was so bad. It was terrible. Yeah, it's a T-800 clown. And you know what? I'm okay with that. It looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger with clown makeup on. So yeah, it's T-800 clown. The art isn't really, selling for me. We do get a brief look at like an older Bruce Wayne Batman kind of thing in this flashback, and I like the use of the red symbol, so we see the idea that evolved. In the early days of the New 52 Batman Beyond comic, when it was like squished in with Justice League Beyond, Batman Beyond Unlimited, there was a series where they went to Apocalypse after Terry's costume had been damaged, and it was like a prototype of Terry's costume, where it was basically the Batman Beyond costume, but it had a cape instead, and it was really, really neat to see. That was a really neat use of the Batman Beyond art style and stuff. This, something about it, I don't know, maybe it's just too realistic is the problem with when going from, animation. I talked about this, I think, the last time I was talking about this book, so I'll be brief. With going from animation character designs that looked cool but were very sleek, very minimalistic, to comic where you obviously put more work into the page, something is not translating. You're getting too much detail. I think too many of the wrong kinds of details. They're making the suit more second skin biological, and that's just not great. Also, just side note, Max isn't being written incredibly well. She's kind of just there. They're doing a lot of stuff with the Batman Beyond costume that I don't like. It's too biological. If you want to put more detail in the it's the eyes, that's part of it too. If you want to put more detail in the Batman Beyond comic, as far as the suit goes, it should look more techy. You should do more of an Iron Man thing with it, as opposed to making it look too biological. But yeah, that's all I got. Not loving the art, but it's certainly passable. It's not distractingly bad or anything like that. It's some weird character design choices here and there. I'm just so thrilled to see Terry McGinnis as the Joker. Joel says, if I were rebooting DC, I would sit down my writers and come up with a 5-year plan and map out a timeline way ahead of time. I'd nail that continuity down with a large hammer. You say that, and I think that's what they try to do, and no one ever listens. I think that's like when you like work at a job and like the boss gets everyone together for a meeting and they tell you what the plan for the day is or the week or whatever, and then everyone just kind of tunes out and then goes off and does whatever. I think that's exactly what that meeting would be. I think that's exactly what New 52 and probably DC Rebirth were. No one paid attention and or cared. Anyway, final book of the week is Wonder Woman number 11, as we finally finish off the Lies story arc. And by finish off, I mean just set up another story arc that we're going to have to switch back and forth with Wonder Woman Year 1. So yeah, that's not okay at all. But a lot of stuff that Ruka was setting up with the between the two, as I predicted, is paying off now. So I guess it was at least in some way, shape, or form justified. Again, why it couldn't have just been 2 books as opposed to happening in 1, I don't understand. The art is fucking gorgeous. It's just like nothing's happening on this page, but it looks amazing. Beautiful. And that's all the coloring. Fucking the pencils didn't bring shit to this page. That's all about that coloring. Beautiful sunset color palette. Love it. Wonder Woman's very confused, and they're just it's a big way to write out the Azzarello book and everything that Ruka doesn't like. It's beautiful splash pages, though. Again, I'm more impressed with the coloring in this issue than I am the writing or the just pencils. Who is the colorist? Laura Martin. Laura Martin does amazing colors. Just saying. So Wonder Woman's trying to figure out what the fuck's going on with Themyscira, and we're setting up this like, oh shit moment. pretty much everything that happens. Etta Candy's doing some spy stuff. There's a robot. We'll see how that goes. Tom King's Batman Volume 1, I Am Gotham, is going to be in trade in January. Oh, it's tempting to get. Right, Manos, the Wonder Woman book. Manos, if you were waiting for them to completely write Azzarello out of continuity, here you go. This is it. It's all happening now. So if you really wanted it, it's your opportunity. But your answer is going to be, of course, no. I don't care, and that's fine. I understand. I understand being so pissed off you don't want to go back to something. There is this one funny scene with Steve Trevor walking around on Paradise Island, and he talks to this Amazon, and she's like, "You should not wander alone, male, lest my sisters and I decide that the princess needs to share you." So she just like threatened to rape. She just like threatened to rape Steve Trevor. That's like really fucked up, but kind of hilarious. Wonder Woman probably is into pegging. I bet you Wonder Woman is into pegging Matthew Bennett. I'd put the odds about 10-1 on that. Wonder Woman and Deadpool would not be able to have a relationship together. Steve Trevor totally gets pegged. Yep, 100%. Especially the Steve Trevor from Batman Brave and the Bold. So yeah, Wonder Woman's just incredibly uncomfortable on the island of Themyscira and doesn't know what's going on, and there's just a lot of stuff happening. It's not something that's easily explained. Read it. If you didn't like the Azzarello stuff, it's worth picking up because it's going to write that out of continuity completely. But I feel like it's doing it in a really interesting way that, you know, isn't completely predictable. I think this is purely fan theory. Manos, you can't be in the comments, bro. You just can't. You're throwing me off, man. Manos says Wonder Woman and Agent Carter are both into pegging. That's why they call Agent Carter Peggy. Yes. Yes, indeed. Captain America. Little known fact. Captain America is into pegging. Oh, everyone's into pegging. You just don't know it yet. But anyway, fan theory time. So my theory on what Ruka's going to do is entirely based on this page, where we see this shattered tree that Wonder Woman is viewing. And then like the next page, like the big moment reveal is all these times, all these years, I've never been home. So I think the DC Rebirth Wonder Woman, is an alternate reality Wonder Woman that is being flooded with the memories or history of Wonder Womans from other Earths. And so in her version of Earth, in the DC Rebirth Earth that we're getting in Wonder Woman Year 1, she left Themyscira and was never allowed to return as part of the rules. Like, if you leave, you can never come back, Themyscira, in this Rebirth continuity. But because of some kind of connection that she has to the multiverse, which we know exists in DC, it's probably going to be some kind of mystical connection. She's somehow getting the memories and interpreting events from those different lines of continuity. So she has really never been home, and she's just now realizing it. She's always been to some slightly different, every memory she has of going back to Themyscira before DC Rebirth continuity is like a false memory of going to a different version of Themyscira. So what you're getting is the thing that I'd said from the very beginning about Azrael as Wonder Woman is if you don't like it, just treat it like an alternate universe and you're good. And so I think it's kind of confirming that. We'll see what Ruka does with it. Should be interesting. Not the best thing ever, obviously, but it's enjoyable. I just generally speaking, I like making Etta Candy black. I still really like that choice. Yeah, there you go. That will be it for the reviewing part of comic reviews. We got a lively studio audience in today, so I'll do Q&A. Let's do 15 minutes of Q&A. I'll go till midnight for shits and grins for y'all. So any questions you've got, leave them, and I'll do some answers. I'll just sit here and think up something to talk about while I'm waiting. Getting, like I said, an episode of Geeky Gentleman later on Thursday, on Thanksgiving Day, special episode of Geeky Gentleman. Friday, there will be another special episode that I recorded with the Curious Low, where we review the film or the play, the musical Hamilton. Since that got big again recently in the news cycle, decided to go ahead and throw that in there at the last minute of History Month. So you'll have that to look forward to. Matthew Bennett asks, what did you think about the second Skull Island trailer? I'm assuming that's like the big one that they're playing in theaters now and stuff. It was fun. I liked it. I'm not a huge, like, John C. Reilly, he's an okay like comedic actor, and I certainly don't want something that's like as overly serious as Peter Jackson's King Kong, but at the same time, I'm like, maybe comedy isn't the right direction to go with it. So we'll see. I'm just excited for Godzilla vs. King Kong, even though I've never even seen the original movie, even though I own it on Blu-ray. So yeah, I don't know. The trailer looked all right. Generally speaking, I don't like the trope of making fun of the name you pick for a thing. Like, a lot of superhero movies do that, where they won't want to say the name of the character. They have to make it a joke or make it into some kind of like clever reference, and I don't like that. So I didn't like that joke about skull crawlers sounding stupid or whatever. That it felt too similar to that. Joel asks, what's a good way to fight fascism in a way that's productive and not getting the feeling of going around in circles? Dude, I saw that comment you left on the episode on the election, and that's not an easy question to answer. The best I can give you is, when you see it, resist it. When you see something that makes you uncomfortable, don't let it pass. Speak up against it is the best thing I can give you. Don't sit on the sidelines of history. Fascist supporters are nice people who don't want to be rude and don't want to get in the way. And so be the person that no one likes if you're worried about what you're hearing politically from people. And that's just general life advice. You're going to get in a lot of arguments and people aren't going to like to hear it, but that's the best general advice I could give you. specifics are a different matter. But yeah, if you're worried that something is leading in a particular direction like fascism, the best advice I can give is just resist it. Don't be afraid to speak up. Jacob Carlson asks, how far are you in Flash, the TV show? I finished season 2 on Netflix, and let me tell you, 2 minutes before the end of the season, I was like, like it's kind of dumb or whatever. Like the whole time remnant idea doesn't really make much sense, but whatever. At least they tried to give it an explanation, and they used it in kind of a clever way, and yada yada. So it was kind of stupid but harmless. And ultimately I was like, hey, whatever. They had an episode with a lot of heart to it that I quite liked, and they really did give it their all. Like that episode that Kevin Smith directed, that was basically I'll just, what they should have called that episode is Whatever Happened to the Fastest Man Alive, or Whatever Happened to the Scarlet Speedster. That's really what that episode should have been titled, because it's Whatever Happened to the Cape Crusader, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. So I really liked that episode. And then 2 minutes before the finale, I'm just like, yeah, it had some heart, it had some moments here and there, and overall it was a fairly clever season of television. Fun, enjoyable, harmless. And then those last 2 minutes, man, what the fuck? That pissed me off. Like 2 minutes before the end, I'm like, I don't really understand why people hate this. It was just okay. Whatever. And then Flash is all like, I'm sorry. And then he fucking time travels. I'm like, oh my fucking God, no. And oh my, that pissed me off so much. Absolutely ruined all the progress that they made throughout that season, just to give it a cute little wink and nod and no, tune in next season. And you'll be lucky if I tune in next season. Akuma Ranger asks, what are your thoughts on writers purposely creating annoying characters, i.e. Dan Slott's Alpha from Spider-Man? Haven't read that. Intentionally creating annoying characters. Neelix from Voyager is an intentionally annoying character who from time to time would just have heart. He was intentionally written to be annoying, particularly to Tuvok and some of the other passengers on Voyager, crew members and passengers. So I agree. It's something that writers do. I loved Neelix, though. Neelix was my favorite character on Star Trek Voyager. But it wasn't because he was the annoying one. But creating a character specifically to get on your other characters' nerves, to get on your other characters' nerves is really cool. Like it's a plot device that writers use, and it can be used in really cool ways. It can also just get annoying because it can get on your readers' nerves. So case by case basis kind of thing. Matthew Bennett, would you fight Donald Trump? Remember, he's like 6'3". Yeah, but he's old. I could take Donald Trump. Joel, you're welcome for the advice. Manos asks, have you heard that a movie is being made about Wonder Woman's creator, William Moulton Marsden, his wife, Elizabeth, and their other wife, Olive? That's going to be a really fucking kinky movie, bro. That's going to be like 50 Shades of Grey if it was actually porn. Yeah, Moulton Marsden, very, very kinky SOB. And it's so weird. There's so many little things here and there in that dude's life that are just fascinating. I know you talked about on Twitter that you're reading through the biography written about him and his family, and just how like unconventional it is. And like there was certainly a level of hypocrisy in at least him initially getting a second wife, basically mistress, whatever, live-in mistress that his wife was very much aware of. But obviously they hammered out the details at some point in time because, yeah, the two wives stayed together after well after Marston died. So yeah, it's very, very fascinating, kind of trippy, and incredibly unconventional family relationship that they had. So I don't know, if they do it, they'll go big. It'll be one of those things, like, I really, really wish they could have gotten the wheels moving on that before the Wonder Woman movie hit, because how amazing would it be if you got the Wonder Woman live action adaptation followed directly by the biopic about the guy who created the character? That would be fantastic, because then people would be like, holy shit. Jacob Carlson says we should do a Geeky Gentleman on Time Remnants. Maybe, I don't know. Akuma Ranger says, was there ever a series that gave you buyer's remorse after it ended? Man. Batman Endgame? I talk about this all the time, so I won't go on for too long. I wasn't really, I really didn't care for a lot of what Scott Snyder was doing with Batman up until 0 Year, because I was like, okay, it's just kind of a ripoff Morrison. So I just like, it's not very great. I just didn't care for it that much. And I thought it was like way too derivative. But I was never like disgusted by it. I was like, okay, it's annoying that people like it more than Morrison, but whatever. That's Das Rabble for you. But then I read 0 Year, and it still checked all the boxes that I had of it being, really rip-off territory kind of thing. But underneath, it was well told, it was well put together. I enjoyed it on the whole, minus one or two things. And then, so I was like, okay, maybe now that he's got all the ripping off out of his system, maybe Snyder will give us something good. And then we got Endgame, and I was like insulted by Endgame, and just, I think it's the worst Joker story, second worst Joker story ever told. And any list that has Endgame or any Scott Snyder Joker story on it as a like best Joker story doesn't understand the Joker. So yeah, that was a series where I had buyer's remorse. Mano says the Marston biopic is supposed to come out in 2017, so it could happen. Awesome. Jacob Carlson asks, what were your thoughts on Age of Ultron? I haven't seen you talk about that yet since I just started watching you this year. It's weird. I've not talked about that movie much. I've still only seen it one time. Yes, aestheticist in exile. Yes, you are late. But you've come just in time for this, for me to talk about Age of Ultron. Scott Snyder, not Zack Snyder. So Age of Ultron is a movie that I've still only seen one time, because I could not sit through it. Or I was able to sit through it. I watched the whole movie. But just the one time watching it, I noticed a ton of problems just with the plot. But I could tell there was some really interesting ideas going on underneath it. And I really, really was attracted to those interesting ideas, but I couldn't get over how much of the plot just didn't add up. And there were just like a lot of little things that annoyed me. A lot of, like, I still don't fully know what the hell Ultron's plan was. I know what thematic purpose he served for the plot, but on just a logical level for what Ultron was doing, I don't know what he wanted in the end, what his personal desire was. Because thematically, he serves to make the Avengers better, but functionally, he shouldn't be having that as a goal within himself, with what he wants to do. And like, it's very shifting motivations, and that was something I was really bothered with. Another thing is, and this one I don't think is defensible, there's absolutely no reason that he shouldn't have killed Black Widow. He has literally no reason not to kill Black Widow, except that the plot needs her alive. So there's just a lot of little stuff like that that bothered me about that movie. But I think a lot of thematic stuff is brilliant. And Steve and I have had tons of conversations about that movie. And it's just, you know, we get really, really in fistfights about it. Philip Kelton says, what did I miss? And you missed everything. Let's see here. Matthew Bennett says, would you give Snyder the dreaded 3-shoe beating, Geek Boy? Yes. Yes, I would. Choose Cosmic Cube or Infinity Gauntlet. No, Infinity Gauntlet, right? Right? Anyway, Jacob, you're misinformed by the Marvel Cinematic Universe, though they might have adjusted the comics universe to fit, which is always annoying. Oh, what else can I talk about? I'm waiting for some more. Okay, Joel. Joel says, part of me fears and yet is curious to see what Snyder do Star Wars. Both Snyders, by the way. Whatever you want, man. You take that risk all you like. Zack Snyder directing a Star Wars movie or Scott Snyder writing a Star Wars comic. He's just going to rewrite Kieran Gillen's Darth Vader, but dumb it down and spell everything out on the page for you so that people call him the genius for it. And his run will go 50 issues and cover a fourth of the ground that Gillen's did. Watch. Oh, man. All right. I'm about at 12 o'clock. I'm not seeing any other questions come up or responses. I was kind of waiting to see what Aestheticist in Exile would say about my whole feelings on Age of Ultron. Man. Good episode though. Had fun talking about it. Hopefully going to this new shop makes me more consistent when I'm picking up books and getting things, and hopefully I won't have to keep pushing stuff back. Guys, I've got next 4 days off. I'm so excited for that. I haven't had like a long period off in years now, so that's just really cool. Oh, good feeling. Anyway, diarrhea, that is all. Good night, folks. Thanks, Matthew Bennett. Yeah, everyone come live so you can enjoy Matthew Bennett's color commentary. I think I'm good. You guys have a good one. Thanks for coming live, folks. Get here earlier. And by earlier, I mean whenever I start, since I don't have a set time to do this. Yeah, come prepared. There you go. And yeah, it's not going to be this late again, hopefully. Again, that just happened randomly. Anyway, everyone, thanks for watching. Thank you very, very much. It was a good time. I'll talk to you later. Bye.